Hi, Dave Dickinson with Bankers Compliance Consulting, and I want to talk to you about Truth in Savings Act and Reg DD. More specifically, I want to talk about annual percentage yield. This is not a new reg. There hasn't been any changes, but yet this is an area that a lot of people just don't understand. What is an annual percentage yield? Well, let me make it as simple as possible. It's the interest rate in correlation to the compounding frequency. It's not really quite times, but it's in correlation to, meaning if you have annual compounding, we got to do an annual percentage yield, then our APY would be equal to the interest rate. But if you had semi-annual compounding, then we're going to add interest to the principal, and that principal is going to go up, and then I'm going to earn more the next 6 months than I did the first 6 months. And we're going to roll everything into a year. So what I'm really missing in this formula, making it simple, is time. Everything is going to be compared to 1 year. If we have quarterly compounding, then we're going to have 4 times throughout a year that we're going to add interest to the principal, and we're going to make, therefore, a higher APY than the interest rate. Now, the other tricky thing about this, not being logical necessarily, is that the annual percentage yield assumes that interest remains on deposit until maturity. That's a statement that you have to make in your Truth in Savings Act disclosures. So if that's true, then crediting isn't a factor. We're not going to allow the idea that interest might be leaving through withdrawals. Crediting is of no factor when it comes to the disclosed annual percentage yield. So annual percentage yields really are theoretical, much like an APR on the loan side as well. If you play exactly by these rules, this is what you would earn, but that may not be the real case. Hence, there's this assumption clause that says we assume interest is remaining on deposit until maturity. Now, we can work through all sorts of mathematical examples, but basically you need to always disclose your compounding frequency the way your bank's policy is for that account, whether it be a time account or a savings or money market. If the customer says, yeah, but I'm going to withdraw interest, you don't care. The annual percentage yield assumes the interest remains on deposit until maturity. So you're always going to disclose your compounding frequency the same. The crediting frequency, you need to disclose specific to the customer. If they're taking a monthly check through a time account, for instance, or having it swept into a deposit account, then you're going to disclose the frequency of that happening.